I didn't really want to have to make this video. I've always wanted to say that in a YouTube video because I never understood it, because you just don't have to make it then if you don't want to make it. Greetings and salutations, my friends. I think it's time we had a little chat about FM25. Now, much has been discussed over the last few months of FM25 with delays and everything, and now a sort of mysterious quietness on the social media front of Football Manager, despite promising that they were going to show us gameplay in January. So, rather than knee-jerk reactions and death threats, as the internet likes to do, let's talk about this like adults. Now, I've got a little bit to say, then we're going to go through a timeline of events and see if we can glean any information about what's going on. We're then going to have a little speculation. I'm no more in the know than many of you, but we're going to sort of speculate what's going on and what might happen. So, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to say, as much as we all love the Football Manager game series and the Championship Manager game series, if you're old enough, we have to remember it's a product made by a multi-million, billion-pound company that we like. That is essentially the entirety of our relationship with this. As much as nobody is owed a game, it's not like we paid £1,000 for a gold pass where we're guaranteed a game every year. Gaming is in a weird spot at the moment. I follow gaming news closely, and delays are incredibly common. So what I want to say, and what the criticism I'm about to talk about, is not really, it's not really an attack on anyone, because there's so many things going on behind the scenes. Nobody should be like messaging Miles or the developers and screaming and stuff. It sucks for all of us, but like, it's just a product we like. The best way, if you decide that this has annoyed you enough, or that this has taken too long, is just to not buy it. You vote with your wallets. That's the only way that you influence these big companies, right? There's no point sending out threats and criticizing everybody and then just buying the game. They're fine with that. That's how companies work. You still bought the game. So let's talk about it like adults. No hate to the developers. I will be critical of some of the things they've done, but I know that big companies are slow-moving, cumbersome things that are very hard to control. So let's just get a better idea of this by going through a bit of a timeline. So the first sort of inkling we knew that something was maybe wrong was on September the 4th, and it was a blog post by Miles. I still think he's the game director, right? And it was called one of the parts was called Revising Our Timelines. We previously stated that we would be confirming FM25's release date at the beginning of September, with pre-orders starting at the same time, closely followed by a gameplay rollout period. Kind of normal. Firstly, we've had to shift the official announcement to the end of September. The gameplay focus period will follow soon after. Our target launch date has moved accordingly and is now scheduled for late November rather than the usual early November slot. So this is September the 4th. We've already slipped a couple of weeks. We know they're moving to a new game engine. This is why the whole thing is like, what's happening is because of this new game engine. You can't just copy and paste from one engine to the other. It's a massive job that they've been working on for a while. But so we know that the game has slipped 2 weeks. In the same blog post, Miles let us know that international management has now been cancelled, or for the time being at least, on FM25. The challenges we've encountered in development process over the last couple of months have led us to make another difficult decision around game content. International management will not be playable in FM25 console or touch. Coming back off a summer of tournament football with a blah, 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 fluff. We've looked really hard into international management in FM and determined that we were planning to deliver wouldn't reach our initial quality threshold. We also considered the available game data. Only 5.6% of all FM24 PC saves have used this mode, which we feel validates our view that we need to do much, much better with the experience. So I don't ever like when they use a percentage of players to say, nobody's really using this feature, so this goes for obviously international management, but there's other features they've got rid of that says, oh, nobody's really using it. We don't use it because it's crap. Like that, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point. There's only 5.6% of people because it's not very good. But at least they can see that international management. And when this bit was announced, I was like, that's okay. I don't do international management anymore because I do find it boring. It needs completely to be redone. So if they're going to redo it and make it a proper experience, then I would be okay with missing out on it for a year. Miles then go on to say at the end of the blog post how, in recent weeks, I've also taken steps to free up more time to focus solely on development and supporting the wider team. One of our core studio values is consider the bigger picture, and what's more important right now is focusing on FM25. He then goes on to mention how great he is because he's cancelling a load of trips around the world. Unnecessary. You could have just said that first bit. You didn't have to go, look, I'm great. That's just a weird bit of PR. So this all happened on September the 4th. I think most of us were like, okay, it's a bit of a bummer. It's been delayed a couple of weeks, but we get it. New game, new engine. That's kind of very acceptable, right? Then on 30th of September, we got the fabled roadmap. Now, this is pretty similar to previous years. Before, it would be feature roulette that Miles used to do on Twitter, and then it was now a bit more sort of professional job, and we got this nice graphic saying that the week of 7th October we'd get the women's football introduction, which we knew was coming anyway, and then I think it was probably going to be weekly, the interface, the tactics, the match experience, your manager, and much more, and it was available for pre-order on Steam. Everything going ahead as normal. We're going to get an almost complete game 2 weeks behind. We'll take that. That's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. But interestingly, only 10 days after the roadmap came the official announcement of the delay. After careful consideration, Sports Interactive have made the tough decision to further delay the release of FM25 following discussions with Sega. Remember, this will come back. This will be important. Sega, they own Sports Interactive. I think they bought it in like 2006. Our licenses and partners. We have agreed that the best course of action is to delay the launch until March 25. Specific platform release dates will be confirmed, right? In our last development update in September, we explained we needed to push release back a couple of weeks. The additional time has not been sufficient to ensure the game quality and experience meets your expectations and our very high standards. Then they go on to talk about how difficult the development cycle has been, enormous amount of pressure, and totally understandably so. Is that FM25 is the biggest technical and visual advancement in this series for a generation? Probably true. We don't know. Right now, probably is. Who knows? Does it even exist? It's Schrodinger's Football Manager. We simply cannot compromise the delivery. And now, for the large number of you who have already pre-ordered the game, we thank you very much for your trust and support. Given the delay, however, should you wish to claim a refund, please contact your retailer, blah, blah, blah. Something you noted is missing from our announcement on 30th September was the mention of advanced access on PC. We can confirm advanced access will be available ahead of the new release date when we are confident on how long that period will be. We will update you with the opportunity. Now, the new gameplay reveal will also now move to the end of January. Quite an important thing. So, if we separate out this, right, let's separate this out to two sections. One, a delay of a game. Happens all the time. If you're a gamer other than Football Manager, if you follow the gaming industry, when a game sort of gets announced and they have a release date, there's like a 50-50, not even joking, there's like a 50-50 chance it'll be delayed by some amount of time. So I don't, as disappointed as we all are, obviously, I don't think many of us, we're like, okay, it is what it is, right? It's been delayed. Okay, that's fine. That's acceptable. I think the main problem that people had was the sort of social media and the marketing department seem to be going full ahead, timelines, we've got lovely graphics, got the website going, we're introducing bits, all this sort of, whilst clearly in the background, they're not even close to being done. And pre-orders on Steam, which there was question marks over because the pre-order page on Steam only had, like, I think initially maybe like 4 screenshots and 2 of them were the same. It was the most sort of half-assed, like, pre-release ever. Also, just don't pre-order games. That's just a rule of gaming at this point. Don't pre-order games. So I think a large part of the problem is it's gutting that this has been delayed, but that's separate to the, well, hang on, why are you still marketing like it's not being delayed and then only 10 days later? This is where I get into my speculation bubble, as I've said before. I think Sega, obviously, this is a big cash cow for Sega. Football Manager sells a ton of copies. It's one of the most level games in terms of sale. They know how many sales they're going to get each year within probably 100,000 or so because it's so consistent. Most of us will buy it every year, regardless. And I think Sports Interactive, like I said, complete speculation on my part, we're going to Sega, hey, we're not ready. And Sega was like, no, we've got to get it out. It's the new, we always do November. You've already delayed it 2 weeks. We need to get it out. So, the marketing went ahead and all this sort of stuff. And then at some point, there was some sort of big crisis meeting with Miles and the bosses at Sega. And Miles is like, doesn't work. Just doesn't work. We have to cancel it, like delay it. So, and then obviously it begs the question, how long can you delay a game that comes out yearly before you are hurting the next game? Or like, should you just cancel this one and go into the next game? Now, my defense of this was, it's 4 months, so it's still, if it came out in March, if it comes out in March, we're still 8 months or whatever, 9 months, 8 months, numbers, away from the next game. That's fine. 8 months is fine. And also, from an accounting perspective, from a business perspective, you're just chopping off your leg for no real reason. You might not sell as many copies because of the delay, but you're still going to sell a ton of copies, right? An absolute sort of ton of copies. So, yeah, tricky. But obviously a lot of people were sort of arguing maybe we should just delay it until the next one or just push it back, give yourself some time and stuff like that. So then on October the 22nd, following the announcement, they came out with another thing. Following the announcement of the delay to FM25, many of you have called for an update with Season 24-25 data. This is something we've been exploring since the initial internal conversation about postponing the game's release. Now, they sort of scoped the work involved, and despite a good initial response from many of our licensors, don't know why I'm saying it weird. We cannot lift assets that we were using in F25 and make them in an F24, blah, blah, blah. It's a substantial undertaking, and that would take away from the development of the game that's already been delayed. So, yeah, we are passionately committed to delivering the best game possible in March 25. Now, if I was to have a quick peruse, unless it's happened in the last 20 minutes since I started recording this video, the last post on their Twitter, their X, was December the 4th. Now, I don't mind when a game gets delayed, a bit of radio silence. I don't mind, like, they can't really talk about the new game because they'll just get criticised because it's been delayed. There's not much they can do. However, when they promise a gameplay reveal at the end of January, and it's now February the 4th, and you've got nothing, alarm bells, rightly so, for many of us, are going off. Now, there has been, let me add a little extra bit of content, is that there has been content creators and bloggers were invited out to Sports Interactive in like December time to go look at the game. Whether that's like you can explore the UI, here's some screenshots from the Steam page, or whether they got to experience. And I'd heard about this, and I was like, okay, well, that's a good sign if it's playable. But I didn't go to those things, so I'm not privy for that information. Obviously, I would have signed an NDA anyway. But like, that happened. It's been talked about on a couple of blogs. So it's a very weird thing. So firstly, the immediate response, and I've seen it from people, is like, the marketing guys, they haven't got a clue. Why aren't they posting something? It's not the marketing guys. Do you not think the marketing guys are sitting there going, for Miles or whoever, and going, shouldn't we, post something on Twitter? Just like something, maybe say, look, so let's talk about like why this is happening. So they were showing off gameplay, actual proper gameplay of the game. So clearly it's not ready. But doesn't necessarily mean the worst news. It could just mean that the build, their latest build that they want to use for this gameplay reveal is just getting implemented, and they're like, that's the one we want to use. So it might be like a week later. But in that case, on their social media, they should have come out and just said, hey guys, the build, like, be truthful and honest. Hey, the build we want to use to show off the latest build, it's going to be a few days, so we're going to be a week behind. That's fine. I think, okay, a little bit of a red flag, but I think we would have okay another week. It's been delayed. We know they're struggling, so I think it would have been understandable. The other possibility, which is definitely worrying, is that Sports Miles, to go back to my chat earlier, Miles is in another crisis meeting with Sega currently, saying it's not ready. We're not close enough to show gameplay. We're not close enough. And to be fair, the gameplay might be ready, but let's say Miles is like, we can't, the game is not going to be ready for this March release. We're going to need some more time, right? They don't want to make the same mistake twice, right? They don't want to, okay, show off that gameplay video we've got because it's easy enough to get a vertical slice of the game and just show off the curated bit, put it out there so we all get hyped about it. And then in a week's time, announce another delay. They would literally be doing the same thing as they did last time that they got criticised heavily for. So I'm worried that it's not so much that they couldn't get a 5-minute video of gameplay together. It's more that they don't want to release that because there might be another delay. Now, then it begs the question, how long can you delay a yearly game before you have to just let it go and focus on the next game? Because at some point, and it's going to be different for everybody, right? At some point, let's take the extreme example. They need a few more months. It comes out September, right? This is obviously an extreme example. It eats itself. It starts eating itself, right? It eats its own sales. It's going to be a massive drop-off of FM25 sales, right? Because people have waited so long and people don't want to buy a game and then buy another game in November for FM26. So they'll drop a ton of sales. They will also drop sales from FM26 because people will have bought FM25 and gone, well, I'm not going to buy another game 2 months later. That's ridiculous. I'll just download a data update or something like that. So there is a cut-off point. And please feel free to say where yours is. I personally, and I'm trying to remove the fact that I make Football Managers as videos as a job, so therefore, even if it came out 2 weeks before the next game, I'd probably buy it because it's my job. But like, if I just remove the job aspect of it and just talk from a fan point of view, I would still probably buy it quite late because, quite frankly, I play so much Football Manager. If I think of a AAA game that comes out that's a great single-player game that I get 30 hours out of, I'd be delighted. Really good single-player game, 30 hours for 50 quid, great. So therefore, even if FM25 came out a month before FM26, I'd still probably get about 200 hours into it. So, and therefore, value-wise, would probably be definitely worth it at the end of the day. But that's just because I'm a Football Manager addict. And it's like I said, it's going to be different for everybody. I think they need to say something, but I'm worried that the reason they're not saying anything this time around is because, as I said, there's meetings going on with Sega, who obviously Sega are going to be pushing hard to get this game released in its own window so it doesn't knock into FM26 because it makes a ton of money. It sells really well every year. I think it's on Xbox Live now. It's on consoles. It's on mobiles. They make more money than God every year. So, if I had to guess, like, let's have a little full on, like I said, I've got no more information than you guys. If I'm going to go full on speculation, and I had to just guess, think in the next couple of days, they will announce a delay, and March, wasn't it? The problem is, as well, if they go to, like, May, you're kind of getting into next football season. Therefore, all your data is a year behind. When is the Premier League? I'm just taking the Premier League, obviously, as an example. Summer, I can't remember when the dates are, right? So the closing window of the transfers is 30th of August. So you can't really delay it until, let's say, I suppose you could delay it till May, and then say to everyone, we will be updating you on, like, you know, a couple of weeks after the transfer window, the major countries, with the updated transfers. I think, yeah, that actually sounds quite not reasonable. It's all a bit crap at this point, isn't it? Yes, okay, I'm gonna please put your predictions. This will be hilarious. Everybody genuinely predict what you think is going to happen. Do they cancel it? Go to next year? Are they just going to come out with it in a month's time as is? I think it needs a longer delay. I don't think a month is going to cut it. I'm going to say they are going to delay it until May. They won't, not a day, it'll just be vague. They are going to delay it until May. But in that announcement, they will say that there will be a... Trouble is, okay, no, but now I'm... Okay, because if they did it in May and then they said, but we'll do a free update, a data update after the 30th of August with the latest transfers, they are then eating, going back to the problem of eating their own game, because you can play FM25 with the latest transfers, or FM26 when it comes out in November, let's say, with the same transfers. But okay, I don't think it can do that. I don't think it can. That would be suicide. Okay, so we're gonna have to go earlier. Okay, we're gonna go end of April. My birthday. It's going to come out on the 27th. Might as well go for my birthday. Just a reminder. 27th of April. It's going to come out, giving them an extra month, essentially. And the reason why no stuff has been said on social media is because they're probably negotiating that right now with Sega and don't want to give us false information. And rightly so, because that's what a lot of the anger was towards them last time, having the pre-release and all the blog posts and stuff, and then announcing a delay 10 days afterwards. That was a bit of a kick in the testes. So, yeah, April the 27th is the new release date. Mark it in your calendars, because it's my birthday. Let me know what you think. But in all seriousness, I feel for everybody at Sports Interactive. Obviously, it's a horrible time, and it's a stressful time, and it's like, it's yucky. They're incredibly busy. Large companies are really hard to maneuver. They're not just like an indie game where it's one guy and he can just go, oh, sorry guys, I want a week off, so the game's going to be delayed a week. This takes board meetings, like large board. This is multi-million pounds and board meetings with lots of important people to discuss this. And again, I'm not blaming the marketing guys for their lack of any sort of posts about this, because we don't know if they're right in the middle of this sort of board meetings period, or working out when they're going to delay the game to, or even just working out when the exact release date is in March, let's say. You know, I think the only time they could really come out with something on social media is if my first point, which is they just want to get the latest build of FM in, so it's going to be delayed by a week. Because you could just tweet that and most people would have been fine. Right? So it sucks for all of us, but remember, our only relationship with, as much as we love this game, this is really important to remember, and this goes for all games, all products, everywhere. As much as we love this game, our only relationship we have with Football Manager is a giant multi-million-pound company and a product we buy every year. That's it. They're not our friends. We're not their friends. They don't owe us anything because they come out with a thing that we might like. We then might buy it. That's the entirety of our relationship. They don't owe us it. I see so many people arguing as if they're somehow owed this game. You don't owe it. You pay it when it comes. You pay for it when it comes out. Like, don't act like spoiled brats. You can be gutted, which I am. You can be annoyed, which I am. But it's just a product that we really like. It's, you know, it's as simple as that, and it sucks. But hopefully by the time this video comes out, it'll be outdated because Football Manager would have posted something on social media. You all right? Okay. April 27th. I'm calling it now. Please do, like I said, give me your accurate predictions of what the timeline of happening. More detail, the better. Okay? It'll be a laugh, if nothing else, and see if anybody actually gets it right. And if anybody that's in the know, anybody from Sports Interactive that's watching, I'm sure there's at least one. I will keep your name anonymous if you'd like to drop me an email. Right. Thank you very much. A whistleblower. Is that a whistleblower? Have I used the right term? Or is it just a grass? I don't know. Right. Thank you very much for watching. I will be coming out with FM25 content. Maybe, if the game exists, at some point in the future when the game that might exist or might not exist comes out or doesn't come out. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.